Hello to all of our BPTV fans, YouTube fans, and new fans. I'm Alan Levine, the Talking Machine, and we've been doing these by request shows since COVID. We have about 40 of them. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your great feedback and your great interest. We have something new and exciting that I'm so happy to announce. Jessica Lee has this huge announcement to make what's next. And Jessica Lee's co-host and co-producer, great jazz singer in the Pittsburgh area. Jess, good morning.
Hey, Al, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, feeling great, and we have some sun here.
Yeah, well, what are you drinking today as we get ready to kick off the new concept?
Let me sip. Loose leaf green tea, Young Hyson. And it's a nice light flavored green tea. Sip by sip, the better health. Jess, what do you have?
So I have something here. Can you read it?
Always believe that something wonderful is about to happen. How'd I do?
And it's great, and it's hot water. Warm water for singers.
Well, you should throw a little lemon in there.
Yeah.
That actually helps.
Yeah, if you like lemon. I'm not a lemon person, but I put a little ginger in there from time to time. And so to your health. And
Yes.
Al, you know, as we start to talk about health for a moment,
Yes.
we're coming out of the pandemic, right?
Yes, we are, slowly but surely, Jess.
Slowly but surely, we're making it through. And so today, Al, we have been, since 2020 and the lockdown for the coronavirus pandemic, we've been doing by request shows, and people have been requesting songs, as you know,
Yes.
and we've been performing them. The lyrics have been really interesting that have been requested, and now we're getting out there again, and we're starting to get used to being back together in live performance. And there's a new concept that I'm calling Fusion Street Jazz that I want to talk about with you and bring out. And I don't know if you've ever been driving through the west end of Pittsburgh, Al.
Yes, I have, because I grown up in Greentree. That was like my second home. And I've done it as an adult, so I understand.
If you're driving into town through the West End circle to the city, you will pass, oftentimes, depending on how you go, a street called Fusion Street. Ooh. And I used to drive by Fusion Street out all the time and thought that is a great name for a project that is focused on bringing together different types of people and artists, that's focused on bringing together different types of art forms, different types of people and ideas that maybe don't normally come together. So Fusion Street has been on my mind for years. And as we have come through the coronavirus pandemic, the requests, the by request now, is to do these fusion jazz shows. So I said, hey, Al, let's honor the street in the west end of Pittsburgh.
Thanks for filling me in on the street. I've never seen it, and I've been on a lot of side streets and had friends there, and it's mainly main streets. So yes. I'm glad that inspired you, because I have fond memories of the West End.
Right. So Fusion Street Jazz is born. And what we're doing, Al, a lot of venues have been reaching out to me and talking about multi-arts shows. So what does that really mean, right? That means let's think about blending not only the music and different musicians who might not normally play together and make music together, put them together in different types of music and do them in our own styles, but also we have a ton of visual artists who paint and have beautiful messages that they have coming through their visual art. We have a lot of poetry friends, Al, who like to recite poetry and maybe even do jazz poetry with background music and rhythm. You know, and we just started to really think about it all. Culinary artists, you and I know quite a few of them, and said, yes, let's do some multi-arts productions. So before we talk a little bit more about the upcoming Fusion Street Jazz performances, that will really, do now to bring people back together in a very joyful way, since we haven't been together in a very joyful way for a couple of
Yes,
years.
very true.
Let's reminisce. I have a song that we have queued up for everybody, a live performance. This was the last live performance that I did before the 2020 lockdown from the coronavirus when it first hit, COVID-19. And this was at the Carnegie Music Hall in Carnegie. And we have Mark Strickland on guitar, on saxophone, we have Luce DeLute, and we have on percussion, the wonderful George Jones. And this is a song called Gingy, and it was written for a singer, and it refers to the name of a barn, actually, Gingy.
Okay.
It refers to the name of a barn that was similar to that in Brazil. And it was written for this beautiful singer. And after she recorded it, she was in a tragic car accident and passed and went to heaven. But it is a wonderful love song. And this is just right before the shutdown. So Al, as we looked out into the audience, we were all talking about, there's this weird virus everybody's talking about. I wonder what's going to happen. And it was like 3 days later, shut down. So let's reminisce and go back for just a moment. What do you think?
That would be great. And I remember that great night. It was just a great venue there. If you haven't been there, it's a great library built by Andrew Carnegie, and it's up on a hill in Carnegie. So the view, and I just remember when the sun was setting and just the whole format.
Oh, well, that's right. But this
that was
is inside the music hall.
Yeah.
So this is inside the Carnegie Music Hall in Carnegie, PA. Yeah. So you're right. There's a library.
I jumped ahead. Yes.
Yeah, there is a library, but there's also this wonderful music hall they're renovating. So let's go to Gingy, then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Let's do it.
Sky, so vast is the sky, with faraway clouds just wandering by. Where did it go? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Wind that speaks to the leaves, telling stories that no one believes. Stories of love belong to you. They belong to me. Oh, Gingy, if I only had words, I would say all the beautiful things that I see when you're with me. Oh, my Gingy. Oh, Gingy, like the song of the wind in the trees, that's how my heart is aching. Gingy, heavy, Gingy, when you're with me. I love you more each day. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I let you go away if you take me with you. Don't you know, Gingy, I'll be running and searching for you like a river that can't find the sea. That would be me without you, my Gingy, Gingy. be with you. Don't you know, Gingy, I'll be running and searching for you like a river that can't find the sea. That would be me without you, my Gingy, Gingy. You got me running, searching for you, running. You got me running, searching for you, running, searching for you, Gingy. You got me running, searching. You got me running, searching for you, Gingy, Gingy.
We had such a great night, and the musicians were all kind of talking about, I wonder what's going to happen with this new virus. Will we be shut down for maybe 2 months, Al? Maybe 3 months? Will we be shut down? And the sound that evening was run by Brandon Martin. We call him Brando, but shout out to Brando because he's a beautiful sound engineer. It turns out that it wasn't 2 months, was it, Al?
No, that was rather quickly. Yes,
2 years.
yes.
Halfway through, we went back to the same music hall in Carnegie. And halfway through the pandemic, a year later almost, we did an outdoor performance outside and thought to ourselves, how much longer will it be? We've been dealing with this for a year now, a little, almost. And let's go. I want to go at the end of the show to that performance where Mark Strickland and I, the great guitarist, performed outdoors because it was safer.
Oh, yes.
And we said, hey, Al, how much longer do you think we have? Well, we had about another year from that.
Yes, you're so spot on. Yes.
So I want to tell everybody to end this short show today. We're going to play What a Wonderful World that Mark and I performed live outdoors about a year into the pandemic. We're going to play that at the end for you. But Al, at that outdoor concert, what I noticed had a fusion theme, and it made me think. I was singing, and there was a gentleman sitting here and at a table outdoors, and another gentleman sitting here at the table nearby outdoors, but they were with different people.
Sure.
And they had been, one was politically far left and one was politically far right. And they had been fighting on social media, putting really nasty things about each other and fighting about politics. Well, don't you know that at the end of that outdoor concert, halfway through the pandemic, there was something about, like you were saying before, the sunset, the beautiful evening that God gave us, the
Yes.
music and being in rhythm and being in harmony together. And at the end of that show, they were speaking and they were friends again.
Yeah.
That's the power of the arts to bring people together, right?
Oh, I agree 100%. It was such a special, actually magical type of night, just with everything going in and social distancing outside and a great crowd. And it seemed like when I was there, because we were filming it, great film work by Steve, did it. And it just seemed like everybody was a little bit apprehensive. And we were talking, and people kept saying, this is so great that Jessica Lee and Mark are doing this so we can get out. And I heard that from almost everybody, because everybody knows I talk to everybody. So I did get that left, right, in the middle, or don't know. And I talked to them all, and there was just this feeling of, this is great to be out here doing this. And
we took so much for granted, Al. So I think the silver lining of the coronavirus pandemic, one of the silver linings for me, is that I stopped taking for granted the ability to get together and make music with other musicians, to be with everybody, all the music fans. And so flashing forward, the Fusion Street Jazz concept really is, starting in May, I'm going to be singing for every single month, going out, multi-arts performances, multi-art shows. And I'll mention two right now. So in the South Hills at J&D Cellars, at the street, at the Meadows, that's one big term, J&D
It's a big long one.
Cellars
Yes.
Winery at the street, which is right off the racetrack road exit of 79, at the Meadows, the Meadowlands, with the big casino out there and racetrack. That's a beautiful family-owned winery, and we're going to be doing some second Wednesday of the month multi-art shows and highlighting a visual artist at the shows. All of these, when we do them, will be highlighted on my website, jessicaleejazz.com, and there's a shows tab up there, jessicaleejazz.com/shows. We'll show the open to public shows. Also, there's a beautiful venue downtown Pittsburgh in the Strip District called King Fly Spirits. It's a distillery, but they do have mocktails and Italian sodas and teas and coffees. They have more than just the distillery products, but they have a huge open venue, and we're going to be really doing Fusion Street Jazz to the max on the 4th Thursday of May. And I think we're going to be doing the 4th Thursdays for a couple months, at least going out from 7 to 10. And for May 26th, the 4th Thursday in May from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at King Fly Spirits, we already have like 6 or more visual artists and photographers coming.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're going to be showing their art. They're going to be showing their photography. Some will be making new art, drawing and painting possibly during the show. We have some jazz poets who are going to stop out, and we're bringing in a musician from New York City, and we're just going to be doing a lot of wonderful material, multi-arts. I'm going to be bringing out some original music, some jazz poetry that I wrote and put to music that evening. And we are asking at this particular show, any of the artists who come to join in the fun, if they do sell product that night, or they get tips on their tip jars on their websites, like I have a virtual tip jar, that we think about donating a minimum of 20% back to those who are fleeing violence. So for example, the Ukrainians are going through a very rough time right now with the war in their country. And we're asking the artists to make a contribution of a minimum of 20% that night. And some will do more, some will do all, to help people in need who are victims of unprovoked violence. So we're looking forward to kicking this off in May in a big way.
Jess, that sounds so great. For all of you, you know, I like to repeat things. Go to jessicaleejazz.com, and this will be constantly being updated as more events and people are involved in it. Because, you know, Jess and I like to put the information out so you know who's going to be there. And if you're fans of them, you can come out. If you don't know some of them, please come out. It'll be just a great, both venues, the South Hills one right at the bottom of the Meadows, actually, it's like first right as you go there. I've been there over the years. I used to own racehorses and did shows out there. A lot of great people out there that like jazz and they like a good wine. So what a combination, wine and jazz. You can't miss that. King Fly is a great venue. I heard we'll be in the upstairs, which is a huge, very nice venue up there, and all the artists can display all their great work. And I can't wait to hear the poetry by you, since you teased me with that. I can't wait for that. And some of our friends are jazz poets, so that'll be really exciting.
Yeah, the great jazz musician, Dr. Lonnie Smith, who went to heaven during COVID, his daughter, Time, who you know Time well, and she's coming. She's going to be doing some jazz poetry with us. We haven't seen her really for the last 2 years. So it's a wonderful time for everybody to be able this
No
spring
pun
and summer.
intended with time. Yes.
Yeah, wonderful time. What a Wonderful World is going to play next. We have
No,
time
it's
coming
all
to do jazz poetry, and Al, when we're out at the J&D Cellars at the street at the Meadows, there is a J&D winery which is further south. We're not at that one. It's
I got
at
you.
the street at the Meadows, but those shows we are also going to be highlighting one visual artist with us per time. So
Okay.
that's going to be very cool. I think Susan Wagner's coming out with some mini Roberto Clemente bronzes and some
Wow.
abstract art that she's working on that's nature and then some urban. She's very genius artist. So she'll be with us on May 11th. I think that's the second Wednesday show. But there's a lot coming. There's a lot of goodness coming. And so I just want to say it to everybody, a big thank you for sending in song requests for
Yes.
us during the coronavirus pandemic. We had a great time doing the by request show for you during the pandemic. And now we're going to go ahead and move to Fusion Street. So we have, we're very open. If people want to hear certain songs at these shows, we're open to song requests still. And I have people giving me their poetry now, Al, giving me their
Wow.
poetry and saying, Jess, can you put music to this, a melody and music? And so I think it's going to help creatives come together and collaborate a little bit more too, together.
And thanks again to BPTV, Dave Cable, and all of you for being interested in what we're doing to help make things nicer for you. And it helps us because we feel great when we're helping others. So I'm part Ukrainian on my dad's side. And I know a lot of you in our community, we have one of the largest Ukrainian enclaves in Pittsburgh. So we appreciate your support and we're going to try to help them in these trying times. And I'm against Russia and anybody like dictators that want to control democracies. I have to get a little traditional American values out there because we've lost some of it and I'm all in on it. So this is an honor and let's listen to this great song. Goodbye to all of you. We're not going to come back with a final, I don't think, Jess. So
no, so enjoy What a Wonderful World, everybody. And we hope you visit jessicaleejazz.com. And we hope we see you out at a Fusion Street show. And we'll be bringing some of those performances and art to you through the television over the next couple months too. So we'll see you soon. Thank you, Al.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I watch them bloom now for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world it is. I see skies of blue, here clouds of white, bright blessed day now, dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world, yes. The colors of the rainbow, pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we will ever know. Well, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands. How do you do? They're really saying hi. I so love you. I hear babies cry. We watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we will ever know. We think to ourselves, what a wonderful world, yeah. Think to myself,